All right, guys. Welcome to our Coach Campfire call. This is a relatively new thing for our team. We've done other things in the past where we have coaches share their stories and talk about what we do as coaches. But we wanted to create something that's just a little bit more laid back and really open and honest and just really true to who our team is. And if you missed the pre-call conversation tonight, Ashley and I were laughing about how, our whole vision for this call was to call it a coach campfire. So you could feel like you could come and sit around a campfire with your friends and get cozy and listen to warm, fuzzy stories and go away feeling connected, And we're like, well, we could tell people to wear their pajamas. And Ashley was joking. She's like, well, yeah, but what if they're sexy pajamas? And I'm like, well, moms don't wear those kind of pajamas, right? Anyway, so it was a funny joke. So on our team, we really don't care what you wear. You can just show up how you are. And that's what's so great about this bunch of people that I love so much, that we call our team. And I'm really excited for tonight's call because on purpose, I asked 3 different people who are very different from each other. And obviously they have the same similarities that they're coaches on our team, but their stories are different, their backgrounds are different, where they live is very different. So I just needed to kind of show you guys the diversity of our team, but what is kind of the common thread, what you'll see in our team is just that everyone has such big hearts and we're all here to help people. So the way we're going to do this is I'm going to go through Q&A style. I am asking the 3 coaches the same questions, but they all have very different backgrounds. So you'll get very different answers. And then at the end, I'll kind of just go through the basics of whatever we don't touch on of kind of what coaching is, where it came from, the logistical stuff, and I'll open it up for any questions that you guys have. There is, if you guys aren't familiar with this platform, there is a chat box. So if you have a question for the speaker while they're speaking, I'm going to mute everybody. But if you have a specific question for a specific person while they're speaking, if you'll just comment in the chat box, then I'll try to check those before we finish up with each person. So I'll just get started. Don't be offended if I mute you guys. I'm going to mute everybody but the speaker. So we're going to go in the order. We're going to have Ashley speak first, and then Kim, and then Hannah, and then I'll wrap it up at the end. So I'll just do a quick intro on Ashley, and then I'll kind of let her intro herself. But Ashley, it's funny in this business because some people you never know in real life, and you meet through mutual connections, or you meet completely online or whatever. And then some people are, the mom that you hang out with all the time. But it's cool with social media how people come together. And Ashley was actually friends with my husband's family. So she was friends with my husband's younger sister. And so that's how Ashley and I know each other and came to be on the same team. So it's kind of funny. But she's a mom of 4. Her baby is, how old is your baby now? It's 11 weeks. 11 weeks. Tomorrow. Oh my gosh, you're almost at the 3-month mark. It's like you've almost reached sanity point. And she has 4 kids and they're adorable. She has an almost 12-week-old. So she's a crazy busy mom. But she works so hard and I'm so proud of her. So Ashley, we'll just kind of go right into the questions. And we'll go from there. So tell us kind of who you are now and who you were before Beachbody.
Well, I'd say long story short, who I am now is a big dreamer, which that was totally off my radar when I first became a coach. Before I did anything Beachbody, I was mom of 2. I was working night shift. I had 2 under 2. And I was working night shifts as a nurse and living paycheck to paycheck, just trying to get through, my weeks with the insanity of young children and working mom life. And so the reason I ever became a coach is because Missy invited me to one of her challenge groups, and I was so happy that I got to say no because I thought it was in person. And then it was like, an early morning boot camp. And then when she said, actually, it's all online, I was like mortified because I didn't have a reason to say no anymore. And so I said yes and did T25 and had really great results. I didn't have like my perfect results. And I say that because I think a lot of people think it's just like, you do something and it's perfect right away. And that was not my results at all. But she approached me like, I don't know, 6 months after and asked me if I wanted to be a coach. And I was like, no. And I told my husband, he's like, you don't need to do that. But I was approaching my 30th birthday. And so I just signed up because I knew I needed a big change in my life. And I didn't know if it was the answer, but I thought I had to try something. And I needed a physical change, but I think really what I needed was a mental change. Kind of like what I said about the whole big dreamer thing. Like I really felt like I needed, I don't know, just like some positivity. And like, even though I was going to work and had amazing women that I was working with and, that I loved, I needed women who were like empowering in my life. And I totally got that. So yeah, that's
interesting. I was just talking to someone else the other day and they said, I think a lot of moms forget how to dream. And I thought, man, that is really true. I think we forget how to dream for ourselves. And I heard a quote the other day that kind of just like resonated with me that said, don't stop dreaming big because you can never out imagine God. And I was like, oh, like it was almost like that quote that was like, it gives you permission as an adult to dream, because as little kids, we dream these huge, big dreams. And it's like, you get to 30 or 40 or whatever. And you're like, where did all those dreams go? So I think that's really fascinating. And I think a lot of us feel that way, Okay. So tell me, what is the biggest thing that you've overcome since becoming a coach?
Negativity. And maybe I don't want to say overcome because like, I don't know, nobody completely overcomes negativity. Like I'm a kid of the 80s. And so we grew up watching Home Alone every Christmas. And if you guys have watched that movie, there's this part of the movie where they're standing in the kitchen and the uncle, the really grumpy uncle, is talking about how he's not an optimist or, he's not negative. He's a realist. And I totally told people that all the time. Like, I'm a realist. Like, it was bragging rights. And then I realized actually I was really being very negative. So, just the ability to I was forced into personal development only because I thought I didn't need that. I was like better than that. But once I started to listen to personal development and read books, like one of the first books I read was The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Something just clicked in my mind, and I felt better during the day, and it was easier to exercise, and it was easier to make healthy food choices. And I didn't feel so angry, which sounds weird, but the more I talk to other moms, the more I feel like this is kind of, a lot of moms struggle with that because you just, there's a lot to do in the day and a lot to get through. And yeah, definitely the personal development, the mindset shift is what I've taken away from it.
I mean, the truth is that's so powerful because it doesn't just affect you. It affects your kids. It affects everyone that you encounter. And I think you could probably say that about most coaches on this team is I think when you begin to believe in yourself and dream and accomplish things, then that negativity seems to trickle out of your life and the positivity seems to trickle in. I know, I'm so grateful to have my news feed. Everyone's like, oh, my news feed's so negative. I'm like, mine's not. I don't know who's in your news feed, but you need to be in my news feed, because I feel like you surround yourself with the coach community and the Beachbody community. It is so positive. And especially with moms at home, it's all you do is talk to toddlers all day. My neighbor came over today and I was like, thank you for coming over. I needed to talk to an adult today. It's kind of funny. But I totally think that that's so powerful. I'm going to just like throw a question that I didn't prepare you for out here, if you don't mind. So no, it's not a hard one. But I know, like, you've talked about being a busy mom. You started coaching when you were working full time. This will kind of lead into our last question, but can you just describe for them, like, the day to day in your crazy? How do you work being a coach into your life? Because I think a lot of people are like you as a nurse, you're like, oh, I don't have time for that, or I don't know how to do it with my kids, or how does it work for you in the day to day?
I recently revamped this, so I've not always like been perfect about the time management thing at all. But I use the timer method, where you set a timer and you try to get as much done as possible in that time frame. Actually, I was already using it with my kids. Like, my oldest has to empty the dishwasher every morning, and he takes like 45 minutes to empty the dishwasher. I'm like, look, if I set this timer for 10 minutes, can you get it done? And he can. And then I was like, why am I not using that with myself? So right now, I'm breastfeeding my baby. So I do a lot from the couch, because I sit on the couch a lot nursing the baby. But I just find small chunks during the day that are time focused. Like, I'm talking like 10 to 15 minutes where I get as much done as I can, and then I put my phone away, and then I come back to my phone and I get as much done as I can, and then I put my phone away.
That's
so
perfect.
Then it doesn't feel like overwhelming. Like, I think that's a big misunderstanding. People think coaches are like plugged to their phones all the time. That you shouldn't be. That would be exhausting.
And I think that's really powerful, like, because we do that for our kids, right? Well, why can't I do it for ourselves? It's like, where's my excuse? You don't have one, right? Like, you can find 10 minutes. You might have to lock yourself in the bathroom some days, but you can find it. So I think that's really great. And that's kind of what I wanted, totally what I wanted to hear, because I feel like everybody's who we're talking to is live. It's a little different. So buckle up, Kim and Hannah. I'm throwing that question at you too. So be prepared. Okay. And then the last question is, how has the income that you've made as a coach impacted your family and your life?
Huge. I mean, I realized I don't even think I've talked about this with my team, but I've paid off the last little chunk of my nursing school debt. And that was a big deal to me, because I quit my nursing job 3 years ago to stay home full time with my kids after my third was born. And I felt like this big, like ugly spot, like in my throat, where I felt like I should be working if I still haven't paid off my nursing school debt. But I was able to do that with coaching. And now I can pay for all of my kids' extracurricular activities. So that's like piano for 2 kids. And I live near Seattle. Piano lessons are so brutally expensive up here. I can't even believe it, but they love it and they're doing so well. So I'm so glad I can pay for that. Pay for my daughter's ballet lessons and all extracurricular sports for all 3 of them. So I love that. I just didn't think it was really possible.
That's awesome. And those are the things that like make your mama heart like really go pitter pat, right? Because it's like, those are the things that when you imagine your kids' dreams and your kids' future, that you want to be able to provide for them. And it is such a stressor, because it is ridiculously expensive these days to do all the things, and to be able to say yes to your kids and watch them flourish, because of your side hustle and your you're breastfeeding and coaching at the same time. I think that's so amazing. So I really look up to Ashley. I have seen her really put herself out there. And I know sharing your story and your vulnerabilities as moms, I mean, just as people in general, is difficult. And I've seen Ashley grow so much and impact so many other moms, to just give them the courage to just be vulnerable and say it like it is and do something for themselves. So thank you for sharing, Ashley. I know your life is really crazy right now.
So sweet.
Well, we think you're great. So, okay. Thank you, Ash. I'm sure if you have a second, hold up your baby so we can all see him.
He's sleeping.
Oh, he's in bed already.
He would take up this whole frame. He's like 15 and a half, 16 pounds. He's huge.
So cute. He's adorable. Okay, let's shift gears and let's talk to Kim. Let me unmute you, Kim.
Okay.
So Kim,
hi.
There we go. Hi, Kim.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. Kim lives on the opposite side of the country. Ashley lives in Washington and Kim lives in Florida. And Kim has a unique story, I feel like, because she was like a big runner, like super into Orange Theory fitness, still is, still a huge part of her life, but really found herself gravitated towards Beachbody and has worked that into her crazy busy life. She's a mama too. She's a wife. She's a nurse practitioner. So she's like a full-time working mom and doing all the things, and is a rock star Beachbody coach, leading a rock star team. And she's grown so much in the last year. So I had to get her on here to tell her story this week. So I'm so excited. So thanks, Kim.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so Kim, tell us a little bit about, who you were, your life before Beachbody versus who you are in your life now.
Okay. So Ashley, you did an amazing job. I hope I can live up to how you were just interviewed. But my life prior to Beachbody, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I've heard some amazing Beachbody stories after going to Super Saturday and summits, and people came from, they were broke and now they have all this money and they have this. I didn't have a bad life. I was living a great life. I have been a nurse practitioner. I have 2 kids. We have a steady income coming in. We live a great life. But I stumbled on Beachbody because I was kind of feeling a little like I wanted more in my life, even though I had, I was working part-time as a nurse practitioner and I had the kids. They were getting a little bit older, and I was just looking for something a little more. So I started in a challenge group first just to lose 10 pounds, met all these amazing women and a couple men maybe in the challenge group. I wasn't doing the workouts at all. I am going to be honest. And I would look at the workouts and I'm like, I would never work out from home ever. I only go to the gym. I only run outside. I'm not going to work out from home. But that was okay. My coach didn't care. We were focusing on nutrition. I was drinking my shakes. I was losing weight while going to the gym. I felt great. And she's like, Kim, you should really be a coach. And I'm like, no, I don't do the workouts. It just won't work for me. I don't, I won't feel comfortable. And then she asked again. I said, absolutely not. Please don't ask me anymore. And then all of a sudden, 6 months later came and I went to her and I said, I think I want to do this. And she's like, do what? And I said, I want to coach. And she's like, well, what do you mean? You said no. And, but okay. And so anyway, she got me all set up and I had no clue what I was doing, but I figured, you know what, I'm just going to do what I like to do and run my groups how, I wanted to do things. And, so that's what I did. I just started inviting people, and a lot of my people actually did go to the gym, and we were following the Beachbody 21-day fixed meal plan, and everyone was getting really great results. And anyways, so I started to get these messages from people. Kim, you've changed my life, and I feel so much better about myself and my family, and I don't know, and it just started giving me more momentum in this business, and it started to make me feel more confident about everything. So it started to change me, and my husband, we were talking about me going full time as a nurse practitioner because, like I said, my kids were getting a little bit older, and I was like, you know what? After doing a couple months of coaching, I told my husband, I'm like, just let me try for 2 years. And he's like, you want me to give you 2 years? I'm like, yes, I really think it takes 2 years in this company, and then we'll see from there. And because I really didn't want to go back to work full time. I wanted to be around for the kids. Like you're saying, you drive them to piano and, all that kind of stuff. So I just kind of kept going with it. And then things just started changing in my life with Beachbody. I kind of, I ended up, I started to feel this fire inside of me and a lot more confidence and a stronger leader and more of a leader in my group. And I starting to build a team, And I never really felt like I had these leadership skills. I don't even know that I totally do, but I guess I do because I'm running a team. So, you know, I was never that one at work that was like, my boss would be like, come on, Kim, like, why don't you do the management? You can interview the nurse practitioners and bring everyone on. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But now, since doing Beachbody, I feel like I just have so much more passion about everything, and I have this fire inside of me, like I can do anything. And so once I started having that feeling, it led me to some really, really cool experiences with Beachbody that I've done recently. So the most recent was Beachbody has something called the Beachbody Classic, and it's a physique competition, like the kind of like a bikini competition. And before Beachbody, I would never, ever think that I would do this. But I have all my customers and my team, and everybody was cheering me on. And they're like, Kim, you can do this. And I just had this thought of, yes, I can do this. And guess what? I'm canceling my gym membership, and I'm doing it through a Beachbody program. And so I started 80-Day Obsession back in January, and I literally got the best results I've ever had in my entire life. My entire body transformed after being like a runner and someone who always went to the gym. I finally got like, when I followed everything Beachbody, that's when everything came into place. And so I went to Classic. We went to Summit with a lot of coaches from Missy's team and some coaches from my team and everybody else's team. And now that I'm like thinking back to it, I could like, makes me want to cry. But like I heard everyone in the audience cheering me on. And unfortunately, Missy wasn't there because she had just had the baby. But her coach, Brigitte, was there, and everybody was out there, go Kim, and all of this. And I ended up getting top 10. So that was a very cool experience for with Beachbody. And there's just been like multiple things like that come up that I just feel like I don't have fear anymore, and a huge sense of confidence. So that's, in my long story short, or my short story long, that's kind of what's been going on in my life.
Okay, so there's so much in there that I just want to like grab hold of and point to everyone. I think most people on our team who have been around Kim would never look at her and say, oh, Kim didn't have the confidence before. You know what I mean? Like, I probably would have never thought that. Mm-hmm. Like, but here's Kim in her job before Beachbody, and she's being like, yeah, I don't really want to do the leadership position. And now you'd be like, yeah, I can do that. I can do it.
I do. Like, I totally
want that like fire of belief in themselves. Like, I can take that on. I can do that challenge. I can stand up in front of those people. Like, I can do that. And it's crazy what happens when you believe in yourself and then you pass that on to someone else. It like creates this magnetic fire in us, and it's really tangible. And it's weird. It is like this weird phenomenon, right? Mm-hmm. And the other thing that I find so powerful about your story, Kim, that I just love about you, is that you're like, yeah, I didn't do the workouts, and I didn't, you know what I mean? So it's like, so you're a couple of things that I feel like we as coaches often are like, oh, well, that person's a medical professional. They don't want to be a coach. That person works like a real job, or like they have, like you said, my life didn't suck before. Like, you know, you had a great life. And I think sometimes we look at people and we say, oh, well, that person has it all together. That person has the life, that person has it all together. But inside, there's still something missing, and it's that fire. And you are not the one that gets to judge whether or not that person has the fire. And I think about you, Kim, and I'm like, gosh, like you did have this great life, but like you're that girl on fire now. You're still Kim, you still have a great life, but you're that girl on fire. And then what you said about your kids, I felt was so powerful, that I think in this business, it gives us a choice, right? It gives us a choice. Like, well, do I want to go back to full time or not? You know, same with Ashley. Well, do I want to work nights or not? And I think so many people feel trapped and they don't feel like they have options, and you had options. And the last thing I'm going to point out, which I find so amazing about your story, is that you had the perspective to say, give me 2 years. give me 2 years and I will do it. And you said, I will be here 2 years from now. Because I think sometimes people look at this and they're like, oh, well, someone told me no. Or you think of being a new coach, right? Like for those of you on this call who are thinking of becoming a coach, right? And you're like, well, what if someone tells me no? Like what if, but this is what I'm telling you. It's like helping people transform their lives, even if it's just one person at a time. It's like, what was the turning point for Kim? She said this. She said, I started to get that message. This is what lights the fire in every coach on this call, is those messages where you realize that you made an impact on another human being's life. There's that quote that says, light yourself on fire and people will come to watch you burn. And it's so true. Like when we create that, like, I mean, Kim becomes magnetic. Ashley becomes magnetic to her circle of moms. Hannah becomes magnetic to her circle. Like it just becomes this magnetic fire because you chose to change yourself. And like, I find you had a great life, but now you even are a greater Kim. And it's just, it's amazing to me how much change can actually happen. Okay. I know we kind of touched on a few of these things, but like, what do you feel like is the biggest thing that being a coach has helped you overcome?
I would just say like fear in doing things. I mean, I'm still with this fire in me. Like I recently just signed up for an Ironman, and I don't know if any of you guys even know what that is, but it's like a triathlon. So it's a run, a bike, and a swim, and you run a half marathon and you bike 56 miles and you swim like a mile and a half. And I would never think that I would do something like that. And now it's just like I feel like I have so much energy and so much confidence. And I'm like, oh, I see what they're doing. I want to do that. I want to do this. I want to do that. So now, like, I'm starting training for this half Ironman that I would never, ever, like 2 years ago, I would have been like, Kim, you're insane. Like, there's no way you could do. I didn't even know how to swim. Like, I just picked up swimming. And so I link my Beachbody workouts now. Like this morning I did lift 4 and then I went and I biked. So like I kind of mix my workouts together now, but I just feel like I overcame fear in general. I have a lot more confidence. It's awesome.
I mean, who doesn't want to do that? and to be honest, like I think that right there is what we as coaches strive to do for people, is help them overcome the fear of starting, of doing something new, of getting out of their comfort zone. And so as we do that for other people, one by one, it pushes us to be like, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. For me, it was, I can have a 5th baby. Okay. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, sure I can. And I think it's amazing. And I mean, good luck on the Ironman. I will be cheering you on. I think I would drown, but you're amazing. Seriously, it's awesome. Okay, the last one, last 2 questions. We gotta hurry. Okay, so tell me, like with your job and your training and everything, like what does coaching look like for you in the day to day?
I'm really busy, like really busy. So, and especially at work, like I used to find like pockets of time where I could, do my coaching business, but now it's flu season. I'm doing flu shots. Like I'm seeing really sick patients and like, I can't always find a lot of time, but I'll find like a 10-minute pocket. So first of all, I get up in the morning early because that's just me. And I do a power hour like that. I wake up, I take my Energize, and while I'm waiting for my Energize to kick in, and that's a pre-workout, if any Beachbody's pre-workout, if you guys aren't part of Beachbody yet, and while it's kicking in, I'm literally in my challenge groups, just checking in. I go straight to them, like whatever people have posted, any questions I'm answering. I do like a daily motivational post in my group, and then I check any messages. So if someone messaged me after 9:30 because I'm sleeping by 9:30, then I'll like message them back at 5 o'clock in the morning, because that from 5 to 6 is my like power hour time. And then at 6 I do my workout, and then that's 6 to 6:30 or 6:45, and then it's time to get the kids up and go to school. So and then I used to be that coach that was on their phone a lot, like Ashley said, but I had to have a talk with my husband, and we needed like more family time and me to have less screen time. So you really have to find like enough, I don't really set a timer, but I just know like, okay, I did my hour in the morning, and then I like to do like a midday 20-minute check-in. And then usually at the end of the night, like around, 8 or 9 o'clock, I check into my groups again or message back. So that's pretty much my day. I don't spend all day doing it. It's too overwhelming that way. So
I hope for anybody, like literally who has any lifestyle, like you can do it. It doesn't have to be this like ginormous mountain. You can fit it in wherever you can.
And I would say like one more thing, like in the beginning, you don't need to be doing as much as I am. Like I have not a huge team, but I have a lot of coaches that are asking me questions. So like, I feel like the more you become with Beachbody, and like, I feel like I should be putting the time in. I'm making a substantial income now from Beachbody. So, I should be putting in like a couple hours, an hour or two a day. I feel like it's not like I'm just making, I don't know, $100, $500 a month. Like I feel like I should be working a little bit. And that's why now I put in a little more time, the hour in the morning and the hour at night, because I have to check, with customers.
All your things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think too, like, I think you would say that there were points of your business, like you were saying, like, I spent a lot of time on my phone, where you chose to hustle for a little while, chose to set a goal and grow. So I think there are points in your business where you can do that. I know there's points in my business where I did that, where I just like put my head down and worked more time, but it is so cool that, Ashley can have a fourth baby and fit it into her life while she's nursing a baby. And Kim can be a nurse practitioner in flu season and be like, okay, well, we're going to fit it in over here. So that's really, really powerful. And you kind of touched on this, but let's just end on this last question. How has your Beachbody income blessed you and your family's life?
When I signed as a coach, I never thought that you could really make an income. As a coach, I just was thinking, I'll get my Shakeology paid for with a couple of customers and maybe make enough to like pay for Abby's gymnastics. But, we are now debt free. My kids, like all of their expenses, Joey's in football and Abby does dance. And that's definitely all covered. We just did our bathrooms, we remodeled. I'm gonna do my kitchen. I am making like the same amount of money as a Beachbody coach as I do as a nurse practitioner, which is kind of crazy. I never thought it would come to that. So it's really blessed us. Like we have a nice cushion too. Like we've put a ton of money away for the kids' college. We did do Florida prepaid, but we still wanted to have like extra, like I just to kind of put it aside. The travel has been really amazing for me too. Beachbody's, I wasn't traveling at a little, I guess. But Jose and I, my husband, we went to Mexico with Beachbody. So we got like some one-on-one time in an all-inclusive, which was amazing. We would never choose, like, I don't see us ever doing that. So Beachbody took us there. It was great. We went to Dominican, Mexico. We're going on a 6-day Royal Caribbean cruise in March, and we're taking the kids because it's the kids' spring break, and Beachbody lets you take your kids if you want. So my kids are coming, and they are so excited that they're going to have the best spring break ever. Went to Indianapolis, went to New Orleans. So like the travel, I'm going to LA in January for the New Leadership Conference. So I love that part about it too. And we're happy. Yeah, it's been very blessed.
It's pretty amazing what, like, when you were the person who I think a lot of us coaches would be like, that person won't want to coach. And then here you are, and it's been such a blessing to your life. And I think we count people out a lot. And I know that I'm sure grateful for you as a leader on our team. You brought so much to our team, and I'm so grateful for you. So thank you for getting on and sharing with us tonight. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And we sure love you, Kim. You're
love
amazing.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, last but not least, Hannah. Okay, Hannah is like a bouncing ball of energy. And I love Hannah's story. She's recently engaged. Yes, he put a ring on it, finally, right? So Hannah, I'll let her kind of elaborate on her story, but she used to be a teacher, and now she's a full-time Beachbody coach. So that's like a thing, guys. And I think it's really, really exciting. And so I'll let her kind of go into the details, but I'm really excited to have Hannah on the call. And yeah. Okay, are you unmuted, Hannah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Hannah, tell us a little bit about who Hannah was, before Beachbody, and who Hannah is now with Beachbody and all that.
Okay, so I sometimes feel like me as a coach is sometimes totally different from everyone else, and one, that's okay. If you are feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't resonate with any of these people, you do with somebody, so don't feel that way. But I'm not a mom. I'm not married. I'm engaged. And I'm from Maine. So like some of you may be like, what is Maine? But I started coaching when I was in college. And before I signed up as a coach, I was a college athlete. I was a huge partier. Like, I did not know how to live until it was Friday, Saturday, and sometimes Sunday fun day. I had 3 jobs in college. I was working my butt off and drinking when it wasn't working time. And I just didn't love myself. I just didn't love who I was. I struggled with binge drinking, binge eating. I looked for love in other people, like men, mean girls. Like, I looked for love in all the wrong places. And I was also trying to look like the girls who wore crop tops every weekend. So that's when I stumbled upon my best friend, who's actually my coach, and she was like, do this Beachbody thing. And I was like, oh, you mean those weird shakes? Nah, I'm all set. And I was in college, like I couldn't afford the challenge pack, which is like, if you're not in Beachbody, that's like one of the best packages to get when you sign up. And I said no. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to swipe my mom's credit card and I'm going to buy this challenge pack. And she's not going to know that I bought it. And I signed up. And honestly, I did my first program, day like 7. I was like, I'm out. Like, I signed up as a discount coach, but I was so out. I was so more intrigued with drinking and eating Dominoes than doing this lifting weights shenanigans. So after then I went to Summit. That is like the coach, Kim touched upon it. It's the coach conference that everyone can go to. And I'm still in college at this point. I'm about to go into my senior year of college, still in a major that I do not like. I was an education major, but I was like, I got to graduate with a degree. I might as well keep going with this college thing. And when I went to Summit, I was only going for a trip with my best friend, and I left being like, holy boys, I'm going to be a Beachbody coach. Like, I'm going to do this. And that was actually the first time I met Missy too. It was so much fun. Anyway, so I get back to school, I student teach, and I actually finished a program, and I was struggling with people making fun of me because apparently it's not normal in college for people to be Beachbody coaches. I don't know. I think it's really cool, but a lot of people in college thought, wow, this is a really weird thing for you to be posting on social media. And I almost quit. And I was like, because these people are making fun of me. And then I realized that who cares what one person thinks, because 10, 20, 30 other people are loving what you're doing. So just because one person is being negative towards you, keep doing what you're doing because somebody out there is resonating with you. So that's when I actually really started becoming my first time Beachbody coach, which was 2 years ago. I worked when I wasn't doing homework. I was also president of student government of my college. So that was really busy, but I found time to do this job. And then I got a teaching job, and I knew that my passion was with coaching. I was like, nope, I am not supposed to be a teacher. This is not fun. I'm finding way more fulfillment in doing this part-time job as a Beachbody coach than a full-time classroom middle school teacher. So I worked so hard my first year of teaching, when late at night, early in the morning, during my planning period, and I decided that I was not going to go back to teaching in May of my first year of teaching. And honestly, I would have never thought that I would have the guts to quit my full-time sustainable job unless I didn't have Beachbody. Like, Beachbody, my team, the company, the personal development, all of those things that we do as coaches have given me the power, and not power, but the belief that I can do what I am meant to do. So before, I was a college student who literally had no clue what was going on, and now I am a full-time Beachbody coach who's also starting a new project. I'm calling it Project X on my social media, but you will find out shortly what my new business thing that I'm doing along with Beachbody coaching.
Okay, I actually love, Hannah, that you were like, if you don't resonate with any of the people on this call, don't worry about it. Because this is what I think is so cool, is that there's no age bracket, there's no life circumstance that says that person will be a good Beachbody coach. And I'm like listening to your story and I'm like, what if all college students found that at her age? Like, I wish I would have had this so much sooner, because that, like what you said, and that kind of leads into the other question of like, what's the biggest thing you've overcome as a Beachbody coach? But I think more people would have the confidence to overcome something. And yes. I would have had that at your age. Like, I really do, And so I think your place in the Beachbody realm is so important. And we actually have quite a few college students on our team. Is Kelsey? Kelsey's working tonight. In fact, I just had a conversation with another coach. She's like, college. She's like, can't I just coach and date boys? And I'm like, well, yeah, it was kind of funny. But I think, like, sometimes, like I was saying to Kim, like, Kim's on this side that she's like the educated professional. Then there's me and Ashley, who are like the professionals gone moms with lots of kids. And then there's Hannah, who's in college, and we're all on the same team. We all draw fire and energy from each other, and we're all so different. And I find it so amazing and powerful. Okay, so Hannah, besides kind of what you said, is there anything else that you feel like you've really overcome since being a Beachbody coach?
I've definitely learned to be my own authentic self. I really, really struggled with that in college. I kind of touched upon that, especially since when I tried to be my authentic self, I would get people who thought that was weird or would make fun of me. And when I started coaching, I was learning from personal development and the people on my team that it is so important to be your authentic self, because there is somebody out there in the world that's looking to you to be your own authentic self, because they need you to be your wonderful self. They are looking for your inspiration, for your truth, for all of those things. And you're doing a disservice for people if you are not being your own authentic self. So when I learned that, I was like, it is so much easier to be my own self, and it benefits so much more people than me faking who I am. So through personal development and all of those things, I just have really stood firm in my truth to share my story on social media and to be proud of who I am and where I've come from and who I am now.
Man, I mean, that's just so true. And what's crazy is I think some people often feel like social media is this world of fakeness. And what I love about Beachbody coaches is that, we're like, oh no, we're just going to be real with you. Hot mess and all, and own it. And it gives you the confidence to stand and own it and know that someone out there needs that voice. And it's so, and then I think as a coach, when you can stand in your truth, Hannah, it's so cool to watch other people learn to do that. And that's really what we do as coaches. That's so amazing. Okay. So Hannah, I know you're like a full-time Beachbody coach, but you have a life. So you do other things.
I do.
You're engaged. So, you got to find time for him. So tell me, kind of like, paint us a picture of what that looks like for us on your day-to-day.
So I am actually like traveling back and forth between New Hampshire and Maine right now because my fiance lives in New Hampshire, and we're like trying to plan a wedding over the phone. It's not working out. So I'm going down there a lot. He's coming up here to look at venues, but yeah, my life's kind of crazy. I coach soccer too. I'm a JV soccer coach. I also sub sometimes too. If I'm like, hey, you know what? I sometimes miss the classroom. Not really. I don't regret quitting at all, but sometimes I like to go back in the classroom, see kids. So yeah, I have a crazy life, but the most important thing that I do is I schedule out everything. So every Sunday, I look at my week, I block out the times that I need to be with my fiance, that I need to be with family, that I need to be a soccer coach, and then I find those pockets of time where I am going to do my job, my Beachbody job. But if I don't write it down, I'm not going to commit to it. Like if I just say, oh, from 9 to 10, I'm free. Yeah, I'll do some work. No, I need to write it down in a schedule. So I'm always scheduling Sundays. I schedule out the night before too. I do a more detailed of the next day of what my day is going to look like. But usually I'm up pretty early, 4:30 to 5 o'clock. I wake up. While I'm drinking my pre-workout and my Shakeology, I actually am doing a lot of affirmations, meditating, journaling. I do my workout, and then I start my day. I'm either coaching soccer, subbing, or traveling to New Hampshire. And then I actually don't do really work until the afternoon. And when I find those pockets of time, I open up my laptop and do the work when I've scheduled it out. And then I also am a nighttime worker too. So I'm always working from like 8 to 9, but it is so important, no matter what you do in life, is to really schedule things out, because if you write it down, you're more apt to do it than just saying, oh, I guess I'll maybe do that during that time.
Yeah, you're totally right. And what I think is cool about that is you're like, oh, well, this is when I want to work. And so it gives you the freedom to define your day, right? So you're like, well, I function better in the afternoon or in the evening. So that's where you're going to do it. And there's so much flexibility in this. Even when you're doing it and you're depending on the income, you still have so much freedom to do Hannah, and I love that. And so I think that's really impactful for people to understand that even like full-time Beachbody coaches, it's not like they sit at their computer all day long. You have movement in your choices. And so I think that's really cool. And then you just take the personal responsibility to say, this is my job. Like Kim was saying, like, this is my job. I get paid. I do work,
Yes.
So I think that's really, really great. Okay. So when you really stop and think about it at the end of the day, I'm going to change this question a little bit for you, because you're young and you're just getting engaged and like your whole future is ahead of you. So, and I think this is really cool, because I wish I would have had this at your age. How has your Beachbody income not only changed where you are right now, but where you see yourself 15, 20 years from now?
Yeah, oh my gosh, I love that you just changed it a little bit, because I want to chat about like how I see my future now. But anyway, to begin with, when I was coaching in college and my first year of teaching, my goal was I want to pay my student loans each month with Beachbody. That's all I wanted to do. And then that week I made more than what my monthly student loan payment was. And I was like, all right, well, that is doable, and I'm going to even push myself more. So I was able to work even harder to quit my job, and then be able to do things that I wanted to do. But I'm also would never have imagined my life as like knowing my whole life I was going to become a teacher. I would have never imagined how much traveling, kind of like Kim said, that I was able to do because of Beachbody. This is in December. I will hop on a plane for the 4th time this year, because of Beachbody. Not directly because of Beachbody, but because of my income letting me able to hop on a plane and go wherever. And I think that's crazy. As a classroom teacher, I would have never thought that I would be traveling 4 times in 1 year as a 23-year-old, and with my boyfriend all 4 times. Fiance, whatever his name is. It's so new. I literally never remember if he's a fiance or boyfriend. And I paid for him too. Like, not just me, but I paid for him. And like, blows my mind. But I always knew if I was going to become a teacher, I would be limited money. I was like, I will never be able to do all the cool things that all these rich people get to do. And I'm just going to stay home and be a boring mom and like never travel and never buy nice things because I need to just deal with my teacher income. And now I don't think that way anymore. I feel like my future is unlimited with what I can do. I feel like I'm not going to stress about money like I have always in my whole entire life. I'll be able to give my kids an awesome life when I have kids. And like right now, I'm looking for a place with my fiance and wedding planning just on my own income. I'm not even thinking about Colin, my fiance's income. I'm able to plan these things just based on what I'm making through Beachbody. Like, that's insane to me that I don't have to rely on a man because of my income. But that's how I see my future, is me taking charge of my life, what I want to do, because of the income that I'm producing through Beachbody.
It just kind of blows my mind a little bit because, I mean, we started with Ashley, you know, who started with Beachbody after, you know, she had kids and she had a full-time job and all these things. And I just love the perspective, right? I think what it does is it just opens possibilities for each person, no matter where they're at. And so it just makes your future unlimited. And I think we can kind of probably close on that as coaches, yes, we use Beachbody programs, we use Shakeology, we use nutrition plans, we use all of those things that Beachbody basically ties up with a bow and hands to us coaches and says, you take this gift and you run with it and you go help some people, and guess what? We're going to pay you for it. And depending on what you want, your future becomes unlimited. And nobody is going to define that but you. And we're going to give you the opportunity to grow the fire within you that believes that you can actually accomplish those things. And so for all of you who are on this call tonight, there are, you know, there are lots of logistics, like, well, what do I do as a coach? And how much does it cost? And like, what does it look like? And the person who brought you to this call can explain all of those things. But I hope what you take away from this call is that we're all different. But I think at some point in our lives, we hit a struggle. We want something different for ourselves. And it starts with coaching yourself. I've said this from the beginning, and I'll say it till I die, but the most important person as a Beachbody coach that you ever coach is yourself. And I hope you'll walk away from this call tonight, looking at these women totally different. And each one of them has grown so much, has opened their futures, has been able to do things they never thought they could do because they made a choice to change themselves. And I think sometimes we look at Beachbody coaching as always helping other people. But when I look at it for myself, when I look at these women tonight, and I see the massive change and possibility in their lives, I realize that, like, that's what it really does. And it's so powerful. And as a team, like, that's why we created these calls, because we want you to understand that, yes, it's new. Yes, it's scary to try something new. Yes, maybe you don't feel like you believe in yourself today, but 2 years from now, do you want to be that girl that's on a call like this with that fire in her belly that says, I can do anything, I can go anywhere, I have possibilities? I think we all crave that ability to do what Ashley said in the very beginning of this call, is just to allow ourselves to dream again and to say, what do I want? What do I want my future to look like? What do I want to feel like 10 years from now? And that's what we're doing here. That's really what it is. And so thank you, each of you, for who spoke tonight. I love you all so much. You have such a special place on our team. And what's cool is I look at all the other faces, and all of you could tell equally as amazing stories. And so for those of you who are thinking about joining our team, I hope you'll feel like we will welcome you with open arms, no matter who you are or where you come from or what you want. Like, that is our job as a team, is to wrap our arms around you and show you what's possible for your life. So I will end there, let you get back to your busy lives and your pockets of working. And we'll do this again in another month or so. So come and join us there, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks, guys, for jumping on. Love seeing all your faces. And this is recorded, so I'll post the recording once I upload it, guys. So good night.